Hello, it's Gabby here for you. Before we jump onto this week's podcast, I just want to let you know about 2 ways that you can work with me. First of all, I do one-to-one coaching and I do that via Zoom, so we can jump on a Zoom call at a time to suit you. The second thing I've got for you is an online coaching course that's 12 modules that you can download straight away now. There will be a link somewhere around these podcast notes. And this is the course that I've designed, and it's got everything in it that I wish I'd have known when I finished cancer treatment and I was lost. So you can download that course now and you can start working towards making this your happiest and healthiest year ever. I'd love to hear from you. Let me know what you think. Take care. Bye-bye. Hello and welcome to Confidence After Cancer. I'm Gabby Mottershead, cancer recovery coach and creator of Powerfully You, where I support professional women and many people after cancer to rebuild their confidence, identity, and direction after treatment ends. And if you're listening today and something inside of you is thinking, I don't quite feel like myself anymore, I want you to know then you are exactly who this episode is for. And if you would like support with this in a deeper, more personal way, you can book a confidence clarity call with me. The link is in the show notes. Because one of the most confusing parts of life after cancer is not always the diagnosis. It's not always the treatment. It can be what comes afterwards, when everyone seems to think that the hard part is over and done with, when people expect you to feel grateful, relieved, positive, and ready to move on, when life is supposed to get back to normal. And yet inside, you may feel different. You may look the same on the outside. You may be functioning. You may even be back at work. You may be taking on all your old responsibilities. But deep down, you know something has shifted. And that is what can make it even harder. Nobody really explains this part. They certainly didn't to me. And so many of the people that I work with, and many others after treatment, tell me things like, I should be feeling better than this. Or they may say, I don't understand why I'm still so emotional. They might also say, I thought treatment would feel happier than this. And they may say, everyone else seems to be ready for me to move on, but I'm not there yet. And one that really resonates with me because it's how I felt. I don't even know who I am anymore. And this can show up in so many different ways. You may feel flat, lost, tearful, angry, disconnected, or fragile. You might find that the smallest thing sets you off. You may notice that your confidence has taken a real hit. You might not trust your body again in the same way. You might not feel like you can trust life again in the same way. You may feel less tolerant of things that you used to put up with. I certainly did. And you may feel less able to rush or to multitask in the same way that you used to. You may feel less willing to people please. You might feel less interested in pretending you're fine when absolutely you are not. And sometimes that can make you feel like an absolute stranger to yourself. Not because you're broken, but because something significant has happened to you. Cancer changes you. Treatment changes you. And recovery can change you too. So what no one really explained to me is this, that after cancer, you are not just recovering physically. You're also trying to catch up emotionally, mentally, and also catch up with your identity-wise of what you've been through. Because during treatment, you often go into survival mode. You focus on appointments, results, medication, surgery, just getting through the day, getting through the week. You do what you have to do. You keep going because you have no choice. But when treatment ends and that structure falls away. Very often that is when the emotional impact starts to surface, because now there is space for you to feel, space for you to reflect, space for you to realise exactly what's happened and what you've been through, the enormity of it, space to notice what has changed. And that can feel incredibly unsettling. For many survivors, this is the part that feels most lonely. It did for me, because support often drops away just at the point when you need a different kind of support. The hospital appointments reduce. The medics have done their job. People may stop checking in so much. Friends, family, colleagues, often with really good intentions, want to celebrate that you're through it, that you survived, that you're a survivor. But you may be standing there thinking, I'm through treatment, but I don't feel through it. This is not over for me yet. And that is such an important distinction, because this is something that I understand deeply. For me, one of the hardest parts was realising I hadn't just lost my health for a period of time. I had lost a version of myself that I had worked so hard to create and build. The woman that I was before cancer, the assumptions that I had about life, the way that I chose to move through the world, that sense of certainty. And sometimes I think that the hidden grief, that is the hidden grief that nobody talks about enough. You're not only grieving what has happened to you, you may also be grieving who you were before it happened. And at that same time, you haven't fully become the new version of you either. So you can end up feeling caught in between, not your old self, not quite your new self, just somewhere in the middle of the two. And in that in-between place can feel confusing, lonely, and emotionally exhausting. So if that is where you are right now, I really want to say this clearly to you. There's nothing wrong with you. You're not failing at recovery. You're not being negative. You're not being ungrateful. You are responding in a very human way to a life-changing experience. It makes sense if you feel different. It makes sense if your priorities have changed. It makes sense if your old life doesn't quite fit in the same way. And it makes sense if returning to normal feels so much harder than you expected it to, because sometimes the truth is you're not meant to go back to exactly who you were before. Sometimes this season is about learning how to meet yourself again, gently, honestly, without pressure, without pretending. And that doesn't mean that you need to have all the answers right now. It doesn't mean that you need to reinvent your whole life overnight. It just means you can begin by acknowledging where you are now. And you might want to start by asking yourself, what feels different now? What feels different in me now? What have I been trying to force? What do I need more of at this stage of my recovery? What am I no longer willing to tolerate? What am I no longer willing to ignore? Because even a small amount of honesty can be powerful. Because healing is not always about becoming who you used to be. Sometimes it's about building trust with who you are now. And that takes compassion. It takes patience. Quite often, it takes support. So here's the question I want to leave you with today. What feels most different about you now? And have you given yourself permission to acknowledge that without judging it? Just sit with that question. I'll ask it to you again. What feels most different about you now? And have you given yourself permission to acknowledge that without judging it? Because awareness is often where healing begins. And so if this episode has resonated with you, if you've been quietly feeling like a different person after cancer and struggling to make sense of it. You don't have to work through this alone. This is exactly the kind of thing that I support people with inside my private coaching. And you can book a confidence clarity call with me using the link in the show notes. It's a space for us to talk honestly about where you are now, what feels hard right now, what support could look like for you. So thank you so much for being here with me today. If this episode has helped you at all, please share it with somebody else who may need to hear it. Take what you need from this. Take very good care of yourself. Stay safe and stay sane, and I will speak to you very soon, my love. Thanks for listening.